Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal Football Club. We want to talk about Yeremi Pinno. Fabrizio Romano has actually said this morning that three Premier League clubs are interested in signing Yeremi Pinno. It is going to be 50 million euros according to Valencia's price tag. That is the asking price. Arsenal's director Edu is in Spain, but not directly to talk to Villarreal. And also, Yeremi Pinno's representatives, agents, are based in London. So literally, there is no reason as why Edu could fly to Spain to speak with them. So we're gonna be diving into that. We'll talk about Granit Xhaka and Gabriel Jesus have been nominated as Arsenal's vice captains by Mikel Arteta. Xhaka is the question. Have we forgiven Granit Xhaka? Has he earned the respect? Has he earned our Arsenal fans, patience and respect? And I think forgiveness. There is a huge question there whether Arsenal fans should trust Granit Xhaka again to be part of the leadership hierarchy. We'll talk about that as well. And Arsenal are looking for a defensive midfielder. Of course, we talked about Caicedo yesterday. I will give you more details to that deal, but we are looking for a defensive midfielder, a player that can give us what Thomas Partey gives us before the window closes. And that means that the likelihood of signing Yuri Tielemans this summer could actually be in absolute jeopardy if Arsenal decide to go for a defensive midfielder rather than a central midfielder. But all that and more is going to be discussed in the show. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast. We're very, very close to 57,000 subscribers. And make sure you are part of the family by joining me on TikTok, on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook as well. But let's start off with the Granit Xhaka and Gabriel Jesus leadership hierarchy thing. Look, when I saw it on a couple of stories on the Daily Canon and the other blogs, I was quite happy because I think Gabriel Jesus is a key player. So if we're going to have him as part of the leadership hierarchy, I do not have a problem with that. I think that's one of the reasons that's why we sign players of his caliber, players of his quality, because they've lived the experience. They've won a couple of Premier League titles with Manchester City, and you think there is something special. There's something different. Our young side gets from Gabriel Jesus, gets from Alexander Zinchenko, and all these other players. So Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, being part of our leadership hierarchy, I do not have a problem with that. I think Jesus has the right mentality. He's got the right attitude. And for me, I could even argue that at the moment he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, the most complete strikers in the Premier League, and also most complete players. If you look at what he provides this Arsenal team with, the rate at which he works hard, He's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. So for me, Gabriel Jesus, part of our leadership hierarchy, I agree. He can lead by example, and I think he's one guy that really wants to have positive results, in every team where he plays. So for me, Gabriel Jesus, part of the leadership hierarchy, although he's a newcomer, I do not have a problem with that. Now the question is Granit Xhaka. Xhaka has started, picking up the armband whenever Odegaard is subbed off. Whenever Odegaard is not going to be around, Xhaka will the armband will naturally drop to Granit Xhaka. And I'm not here to go. I'm not really to come and point fingers at Granit Xhaka and just prove to be very, very unforgiving. But there is a question about the standards. There is a question about the non-negotiables, and there is a question about what Arsenal Football Club are, and the amount of respect the fans, the amount of respect, the club should get, as a whole. So let's speak about this, and let's be very, very clear. Granit Xhaka has been Arsenal captain before, and for me, he was one of the worst captains this football club has ever seen. The disaster, the actions he took, on the Arsenal jersey, no matter what happens, whether you're subbed off, however frustrated you are, you're not allowed. You have no right to take, the football, the club jersey, throw it down and step on it. You have no right. That is the most stupid thing I've ever seen, and I'm quite very, very surprised until now that he still plays for Arsenal and he puts on this armband. Now I know Mikel Arteta loves him and he's a player that he appreciates so much. I don't think actually for the next 2-3 seasons, I don't think Xhaka will be out of Arsenal's lineup. Yes, we have the likes of Fabio Vieira and a couple of other talents that can play in that role, but Xhaka is really, Mikel Arteta is really a big fan of Granit Xhaka, and I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. If he's a manager's favorite, I don't have a problem with that. But the armband, the leadership hierarchy, he can lead without the armband. I'm okay with that. For me, the fact that he even comes back into this Arsenal side, the fact that he can come back and be part of the and be part of the Arsenal 11, that is so much than he deserves. Look, if it is not Mikel Arteta, if it's another manager, if you're playing under Arsene Wenger, if you're playing under Sir Alexander Chairman Ferguson, you don't get those chances. You don't throw an Arsenal jersey down as a captain. We were going through the most difficult times, I think this football club will ever go through. We needed a captain, we needed the senior players, and we needed the top character. We needed the top attitude. And by then, I still remember it was only Matteo Guendouzi and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the only two players that held their heads high and said the standards of Arsenal Football Club will be held high. Xhaka did not. He actually behaved like a kid, picking up silly yellow cards, picking up silly red cards. And for me, the fact that he plays for us, because you can easily see that in that team, he's the only guy that is not giving 100% to the role he's actually playing. He's the only guy. If you ask a P2 kid, which player in this Arsenal side would you make an upgrade on, they'll tell you Granit Xhaka. The fact that he's even playing in that 11, he should be absolutely grateful. So for me, lads, let me say this: Xhaka, part of the leadership hierarchy, is already as long as he's in the Arsenal dressing room and is part of this Arsenal side, he's always going to be part of the leadership hierarchy because he's old enough. He has lived to tell the tale. He's the experience and everything. He's got no right to put on that armband. There's so many players that appreciate Arsenal. They understand what it means to play for Arsenal. I'm talking about Kieran Tierney. I'm talking about Alexander Zinchenko. I'm talking about many more players that will die for this football club. I'm talking about many players that will not throw this football club under the bus. And I'm talking about many players that will not throw our jersey down on the floor. So for me, Xhaka, I will never forgive him for that. Look, I think he's the most improved player under Mikel Arteta. And I aimed to say this on this show. He's the most improved player under Mikel Arteta. He's really done well. I think, look, the way Pep Guardiola transformed Raheem Sterling, this is the same way, probably John Stones, right? This is the same way Mikel Arteta has transformed Granit Xhaka. He's literally turned his life around. He's turned his game around. And look, for me, if Xhaka leaves and we replace him well, I don't think we miss him, right? But I'm okay with him now. 3 seasons ago, Xhaka was my worst player in this Arsenal side. But I can sit here and say Xhaka has been the most consistent player for Arsenal in the past few seasons. In the last season, he was really consistent. I think ever since coming from that injury that he picked up at the beginning of the season, he didn't go back. He had very, very consistent performances. And even when Thomas Partey was injured, and even when Thomas Partey didn't have a good game, Xhaka's game was pretty much consistent. And even in the last game we played against Leicester, he had a better game than Thomas Partey. So in terms of performance, I think I can live with him. But in terms of him wearing that armband, in terms of him, reflecting the standards we want at this Arsenal side, he's not the guy. I'm sorry, he is just not the guy. So, I mean, those two, Gabriel Jesus and Xhaka, are part of the leadership hierarchy at Arsenal. I need your thoughts. I need your opinions in the comment section. How far have you forgotten? How much of it have you forgotten what Xhaka have done? And has he earned the respect yet again as a captain? Has he earned the love of the fans? Because for me, personally, I think when I look at him play, when he scores, I celebrate him with him. That's the time when he scores, when he scored goals, and I couldn't celebrate with him. And I was happy that Arsenal have scored, and I was really happy that we're picking up 3 points, but I was not happy for him, right? Right now, I'm happy for him, and I just feel, okay, he's scored, or he's playing well, it's benefiting the team, and that is all right. But how much have you guys forgiven Granit Xhaka's, for me, utter stupidity? When the club needed him the most, he was the most childish of them all, and he was for me, he's the worst captain, worse than William Gallas. He's the worst captain Arsenal will ever have, in their books. So, Odegaard first now, Xhaka second in leadership hierarchy. That means he will be Arsenal captain if Martin Odegaard picks up an injury. He will be Arsenal captain if Odegaard probably falls out of form and Fabio Vieira takes up his place. Then Xhaka will be Arsenal captain for long periods of time. So how okay are you with that idea? And talk to me in the comment section. I don't want to go so rude on Xhaka, but again, I don't want to be very forgetful. I do not want to be that forgetful. Now, Fabrizio Romano has been speaking or has tweeted around Yeremi Pinno and the situation around his transfer. And he said, at the moment, you have so many clubs interested in Yeremi Pinno from the Premier League, but the truth is that there is no formal offer to Villarreal. Now, look, Fabrizio says, Edu flying to Spain literally does not mean he went to meet Villarreal and talk about the transfer of Yeremi Pinno. That is not what happened. What actually happened is he went to Spain for, we do not know the business, but it is not to meet the players' agents or even Villarreal. We do not have an agreement between us and Yeremi Pinno. Actually, we do not have formal contact between us and Villarreal. So we've not we've not met Villarreal, formally to talk them and tell them we are interested in signing Yeremi Pinno. So this and that. But I mean, look, first and foremost, Fabrizio says the agents of the player are based in the UK, in London. So if you're going to have any negotiations, it is going to be best in London first, and then probably we can fly to the Spain and try to get the deal done. So Villarreal have also just made themselves clear that any club that is interested in Yeremi Pinno will have to pay in excess of 50 million euros. Now, one thing I understand here is that the player is for sale. They've already made themselves very clear. Unai Emery, in his latest press conference, he said, Yeremi Pinno is a player we love so much, but again, there is the market, and we have some obligations to the club. So if a club comes in with the right amount of money that we want, we will definitely let him go. We'll definitely sell him this summer. So look, Arsenal crazy about Yeremi Pinno. Fabrizio Romano acknowledges actually that we want him. We are among the 3 clubs, I think, including Liverpool, who are in a very bad state. By the way, I think they definitely need someone. In that position. They need someone to play to be playing for them in that position, right? So, Pinno, Arsenal, Liverpool, and I just smell a Newcastle. I'm not really sure. I cannot really say a Newcastle, but I just smell a Newcastle. They're in the market to sign a couple of forwards. So, and I think Newcastle as well are also interested, and a couple of other clubs probably. But for me, this is what I would say about Yeremi Pinno. First and foremost, 50 million euros gets you a quality winger, right? 50 million euros, in excess of 50 million euros, gets you a quality forward, with experience, a forward who's a little bit more proven, and a forward that I think will give us much more than Yeremi Pinno. If we took 50 million euros, and placed it onto the table of West Ham and told them we want Jarrod Bowen, I don't think they turn it down. They've not had a very good start to the season, and they have not had a vigorous summer. But for me, if you place 50 million euros for Jarrod Bowen, I don't see how they turn it down. I do not see how they turn down. And Jarrod Bowen for me is a player. 20 goal involvements last campaign. 20 fucking goal involvements last campaign. You need to think about that. You definitely need to think about that. So listen, Jarrod Bowen, for me, I would go for, forget the likes of Moussa Diaby and Pedro Neto. We've talked about those ones, but they are quality players. They're quality players. And now Danjuma. I've spoken about this guy. He's 25 years of age. He was, I think he had around 15 goal involvements for Villarreal last campaign. Liverpool have been closely linked with him. Man United have been closely linked with him, and Chelsea. All those clubs have been interested. Why not go for Arnaud Danjuma over Yeremi Pinno, right? Because for me, look, the ambitions of this football club this season, the target is not to finish in the top four. If anyone thinks Arsenal's target should be finishing in the top four, you're absolutely mistaken. Our target should be finishing among the top two. And I know we will terribly fail at that. Probably it's going to be City and Liverpool. But if your aim is finishing up there with the top two, then trust me, you will not fail grabbing top four. But if you're trying to get top four, if our aim is to get top four, we will fail at it. We will fail at it, and we will fail miserably. So for me, it is all about getting to the top two positions in the league. And if the only way you do that, get the quality players while you still can. And now Danjuma, I'm not really sure how much Villarreal will be asking for Arnaud Danjuma. Probably, I think 45 mil, they take it. I think 40 million euros, they take it. But I think 50 million euros is even a better deal. So, Arnaud Danjuma, get that guy. Do not go for Yeremi Pinno. Let's go for Arnaud Danjuma, quality player. And, he's in that age where you're replacing Nicola Pepe, who's 26, 27, and you bring in Arnaud Danjuma, who's 25, a player in his prime. Martinelli is already there at 20. Saka is already there at 19, 20. You need someone like Arnaud Danjuma. Gives you that, he's lived the tale. He's lived to tell the tale. He's played at the highest level. Or, I don't know if the Europa League is the highest level, really. But, okay, he's played at a high level in European football. And you trust me, if Danjuma comes in, Saka is one of the players that are really going to benefit from this. But if you sign a Yeremi Pinno, I don't think Yeremi Pinno pushes Saka. Really talented. It's the same as Edon Zagrova. I love these kids. But the signing of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus has shown us the direction we need to take as a club, and we do not need to fail at it. We don't need to make steps backwards. It should be always forward, right? I would sign no one than Yeremi Pinno, knowing that in the next summer I will get a quality winger in either Bowen, Nkuku, or Arnaud Danjuma. So for me, Yeremi Pinno, many people are overrating him. Personally, I will not do that. I will not overrate Yeremi Pinno. I'm gonna say go for Arnaud Danjuma. He is the better player. Now we're also talking about a defensive midfielder this early morning on Cossy Arsenal podcast. Arsenal have been linked with a few now, starting with Amadou Onana, who actually went to Everton, and I think he had a very good debut. Look, the second goal that Aston Villa scored, he gave away the ball, but look at how he makes amends. I mean, I understand many of you didn't watch that game, but if you go and watch the amount of quality he produces as Everton pulled one back, they could have, for me, they could have easily picked up a point. They had quality chances, and that is not. There is no blame on his shoulders, because he forces an error out of Luca Dini, and it should be 1-1. Okay, or it should be 2-2. But the lack of quality for Everton literally dictates that they cannot win football matches. They cannot win games. But, okay, Onana, one of them that we've been linked with. The other is Caicedo, like I said yesterday. Moises Caicedo linked with Arsenal. They want a defensive midfielder. So, let me ask you here. Should we go for a defensive midfielder, or should we go for or should we go for a central midfielder? Bear in mind that we have Mohamed Elneny as a defensive midfielder, and bear in mind that we have Fabio Vieira as a central midfielder who can play as a central midfielder for us. So this is what I'm gonna say. Arsenal are focused on a winger. That has not changed. The only position that has changed is the central midfield. The Athletic have, through the Ghana blog, have said that if you want Tielemans, you have to move on Xhaka. That is what Arsenal have set as the parameters. And I think it's a joke. You've just named in vice captain. You cannot move him on, can you? So at the end of the day, it is Xhaka staying, Tielemans not coming, get a defensive midfielder. I'll be more than happy. Trust me, I will be more than happy if Arsenal decided we're going to go out in the market and we'll get Caicedo, or we'll get I mean, I don't know. I do not know of very many defensive midfielders. I would think about I would think about Edson Alvarez, not Edson Alvarez. Is it called Edson Alvarez? Yeah, Edson Alvarez at Ajax. I don't think Ajax are really still selling in this summer. But I wanted Sangare. I wanted Edson Alvarez. I wanted Wilfred Ndidi. Okay, I've mentioned a few now. I wanted a couple of them. I want a defensive midfielder badly, because I know Thomas Partey is gonna play many games. He's gonna get overwhelmed, and his bones will crack, and his legs will suffer from burnout. So we need someone in there. Give me suggestions of defensive midfielders, because that is my next video. Which defensive midfielder should Arsenal sign before the window closes? That is the next video. So if you don't want to miss your suggestion, right now in the comment section below, talk to me. Not in the Premier live chat. Go below the video in the comment section and tell me the defensive midfielder that we should sign, because I'm going to be compiling that list. It's coming up very, very shortly. See you soon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Facebook as well, Twitter as well, and you can find me on Instagram, Telegram as well. So make sure you follow me on all my socials, and I'll speak to you right in the next one.